In today's video, I would like to talk about my Canon FD lenses lineup. Let's get right into it. Before I purchased my Leica SL2, I borrowed my friend Dave's Leica SL2 and his 24 to 90mm lens. And after using it for some time, I knew that I wanted to get one for myself. However, you know, Leica is not cheap, especially the Leica SL2 and the Leica SL lenses. They are very expensive. So after selling all gears that I wanted to sell to purchase the Leica SL2, I did not have any other money to purchase lenses. And so I had to look at some alternatives that I have. And after doing my research, I found out that I could adapt Canon FD lenses to my Leica SL2, which you can adapt vintage lenses to almost any mirrorless camera that you have, which is something great we have these days. What got me into it is long time ago, my friend Dave had gifted me a Canon FTB with a 51.4. Since I will be able to adapt this lens, let me look into it and see what other focal lengths and what other lenses that I would like to get. There is a lot of versions of these Canon FD lenses. There is the S.S.C, there is the S.C, there is a lot of versions, different. You will find the same 50 but different versions of the 50, different versions of the 24, 28. There's a whole lot. I'm not gonna get into that. There is a lot of videos on YouTube that you can go to make that research for yourself, but I'm here to talk about the ones that I end up going with and why I went with them. Starting off with my lineup, these are the 3 Canon FD lenses that I have. Technically I have 4 and I'll talk about that in a minute, but as of now I do have the 24 2.8, I have the 50 1.4 and the 100 2.8 S.S.C. So these are the 3 Canon FD lenses that I currently own. And an honorable mention, I do have the 28 Canon FD 28. Actually it's not a Canon FD, it's an FD mount 28, but it is the Sigma version, and I have that instead of a Canon version because I purchased this one from our local camera store, and at the point of purchase they did not have the breech lock 28mm. They only had the plastic ones, which is something I'll talk about very soon, why I prefer the breech lock over the newer versions, the plastic ones. I couldn't find the breech lock 28 and I kind of was bummed out because I wanted a 28mm lens. And so looking through what they had, I saw the Sigma 28 2.8 and it kind of looked good. I mean, I can't show you right now because that is what I'm filming on, which is a lens I've used for photos but never for video. So this is a test for the lens, and also you guys can let me know what you think about it. I decided to use that for the video since I'm having the 24 with me here to talk about. Mostly when I'm filming these videos and then mostly when I'm doing any other video work, I prefer to shoot with the 24 or the 50, and eventually I want to either sell this or trade this and get the actual 28 breech lock, and so that it can match with all the other lenses that I have. The way I end up choosing the focal lengths that I have now, I had the 50 1.4. There is no other reason. I already had it and I've used it before. I knew the results. I knew I liked it. When I was getting into purchasing other ones, especially for, you know, filmmaking, for videos, I knew I wanted, you know, something wide, which I have shot with 24 to 70 lenses in the past. I think the 24 focal length is, when it comes to videos, is one of my favorite focal lengths to shoot at. And so it was no brainer that I wanted a 24. Now the Canon FD 24s, there is, like I mentioned, there is versions of it, but there is a 24 1.4, I think, or F2. I can't remember. I'll put it right here, look it up and put it on the screen. But that lens is very expensive. It's the L version and it's very expensive. I ended up picking up the 24 2.8 and then I wanted something a little longer, and so my friend Dave let me borrow his 135, which I ended up taking to Portugal with me. I did use it in Portugal, and even though I love the results that I got, I'm not a huge fan of that focal length, the 135 focal length. So I ended up giving it back to Dave, and I purchased a 100mm 2.8 from KEH. So I purchased the 24 and the 100 from KEH, and like I mentioned, the 50 I already had, and then the 28 I got from our local camera store, which I eventually want to get rid of it and get an actual 28, an actual Canon FD28 with a breech lock. So for the most part, I use the 50 and the 24 for almost everything: photo, video. I recently shot a commercial for my partner's brand, and I shot the entire thing on the 50 except just one scene that I used the 24 because I wanted a very, close up look. Any shoot that you've seen me posted on my Instagram recently, and talking about Instagram, if you do not follow me, please go check out. I'm going to have it on the screen here and in the description below. Edmund K. Boateng. Go check out my Instagram and give me a follow if you like to, and if you like my work. But most of the work I've been posting recently were all made on these Canon FD lenses, the 24 and the 50. Recently, I did some still life, which I ended up using the 100. And I really love these lenses. I love the look. I love the build quality. Talking about the build quality, that is why I like the breech lock over the regular FD mount lock that they have, because all the breech locks are made all out of metal, and so you have a really great quality built lens. The Canon FD lenses I didn't know were that popular. Even Hollywood DPs, some of them like to use these Canon FD lenses. They like to rehouse them. One of the reasons why I'm also investing in the Canon FD lenses are because they are cheap, and like I mentioned, after purchasing the camera, I did not have any other money to buy a lens. So getting these lenses and buying a cheap adapter from Amazon, I think it's called the Futasi. I hope I'm saying the name right, but I'm also going to have that in the description if you like to check it out. And so far, I haven't had any bad experiences with it. It works as it should, and it's easy to use, easy to mount. Out of all these lenses, the ones that I use the least is the 100, and I did say, like, I've used it a few times, and not that I don't like it. I really like it. The one that I mostly use is the 24, especially for videos, and then also the 50. I think the 50 is like most of the time when I'm doing photo shoots, it's the 50 that I'm using. I've shot at 1.4, I've shot at 2.856. I've shot at all the apertures, probably maybe except f16. And as you can see, even at 1.4 manual focusing on the SL2, with the great magnification that the SL2 have when it comes to manual focusing, I'm able to get photos in focus. I really love the quality of image that I get from these lenses. It's compared to recent lenses, it is not as sharp as all these other lenses, but it's also not too soft. It has a little bit of character, which is what I like compared to other vintage lenses that are out there and videos that I've seen. The Canon FD lenses are sharper than a lot of vintage lenses that I know of. It's not way too soft, and if I want more character, that's why I have these short stash filter that I can throw on for some pro mist, which is also not too heavy, like I'm using it for this video right now, and it's just giving me that little bit of the highlight softness, but not too much. With the Sigma 28, I don't know how it's gonna look after I edit this video. I will be able to see how the 28, also the Sigma 28, perform as far as like sharpness and all that. So far with the Canon FD lenses that I haven't had any issues with sharpness. I haven't had any issues with too much character that I'm not liking. It's right on the sweet spot for me, and that is why I've decided to keep them, shoot with them, and invest in them as well. Now, so far, I only have these three and the Sigma 28, but I do want to get two more of the Canon FD lenses. Eventually, I want to get the 35 to 105 f3.5 and the 70 to 210 f4. I've never shot with any zoom Canon lenses, so I'm very interested to see how it fits in my workflow and if I'm gonna like it or not. Until then, these are the three that I have, and I use it for, like I said, almost everything. This weekend we are shooting a music video, and I'll be shooting it with 50 and the 24. I don't think I'll be using the 100, but if I do, I'll let you guys know. Like I mentioned, these lenses are not that expensive comparing to an SL lens that you will purchase. Just looking on eBay right before I sat down for this video, if you want to purchase the 24 f2.8, you're going to be looking at somewhere around $80 to $150, which is comparing to, you know, SL lenses or even the Sigma SL lenses and the Panasonic L mount lenses. I keep saying SL, but the L mount lenses, this is way cheaper than that. So for the 24, it's $80 to $150. If you want something more advanced, which is like the 24 1.4, those you are getting into the thousands, and those are very expensive. It would be nice to have, but very expensive. And then the 28, which is the one that I want to get eventually, that is around 75 to 100. The Sigma that I have, 28 Sigma that I have recording me right now, I think I bought it for $60 or $50 from the local camera store. I can't remember. And then the 50 1.4, you can also get it around $80 to $150, which is bonkers. It's crazy because a 1.4 L mount or a 1.4, even an M, it's very expensive. So to have a Summilux Canon Summilux, I don't even know what you would call it, but to have a 1.4 on a Canon, to have a 1.4 on an SL camera, at this price, yeah, it's a really good deal. The 100 millimeter lens, that you can also get for 150. I think I paid like 110 on KEH or something like that. I don't remember, or even less, because I bought the 24 and the 100 at the same time. So I don't remember how much I paid for them. But looking at eBay, if you want to buy one right now, you're looking at 150. You might be able to get it lower or maybe higher depending on the condition of it. And then also the other two lenses that I talked about that I want to get, the 35 to 105 and the 70 to 210. The 35 to 105 is around 80 to 100. My local camera store has one for $80. And then the 70 to 210 f4 is around $60 to $100. I think they might have one as well. I haven't really looked at them because I recently just made the decision I want to have one of those lenses as well. So far, these are the prices. I mean, these lenses are all over the place. You could get them on, you know, your local Facebook marketplace, thrift stores, local camera stores, eBay. You can even buy some for $5. I mean, if you are lucky. They get the job done. They are cheap, and I love the look that it gives me. So that's it as far as like the prices. If you are interested in, you know, buying any of these lenses. But there is a lot of Canon FD lenses. There is a lot of vintage lenses that you can look at. If you decide to purchase any of these lenses, one thing you need to look out for when you're purchasing them, just because these are very old lenses, so you want to make sure the glass is clean. You want to make sure there is no scratches on the glass. There is no fungus in the lens. The barrel, you know, the movement, everything works as it's supposed to. The apertures click as it's supposed to. The focusing, the zoom, everything moves as it's supposed to. Now, if you're buying on eBay, you cannot test it out. So, you know, good luck with that. But just make sure, look at the pictures, communicate with the seller, make sure that, you know, it's supposed to work as it should. That's it for the video. That's all I wanted to talk about. And I'm going to be shooting with these lenses a lot, and if I do, I'm always going to try my best to share the results and talk about them with you guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. Like I mentioned, I shot a commercial, and I'm going to be talking about that maybe in the next video. Who knows? And I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, bye bye.